Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast Aftersight. I am your host, Penn Street. And I definitely want to give a couple of shout outs of some upcoming things that are happening at Audio Information Network of Colorado. AINC has some new original podcasts coming out. Blind Sight, which you definitely want to check out, it has launched. Bill Lundgren is the host, and he dives into all things mental health. We also are going to continue with our topic of the month, and October is advocacy. Check out the podcast, all of the resources and services that we are providing, and you can do that on our website at aincolorado.org. We are coming up on our 1-year anniversary with Aftersight. I can't believe it. It has been just a whirlwind of a year. So many incredible voices and stories have been on here. I'm so very proud of all the work that we've done. And you definitely want to stay tuned for our very special guest on that podcast. It's somebody who has been a hero and mentor to me for most of my adult life. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Today's guest is Kristin Parker, and Kristin is coming to us from Texas. And Kristin is a professional braille and graphic arts transcriber. And Kristin, she turned to braille in a very unusual way. So I'm excited for all of you to learn her story. Not only does she change the world with her skills by transcribing braille, braille really changed her world in a way that is very unexpected. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Kristin.
You're listening to Aftersight with Penn Street, an AINC original podcast. If you enjoy what you hear, please visit aincolorado.org for more shows, news, and articles read by our amazing staff and volunteers. If you have a question for Penn or would like to recommend a guest for future shows, please visit aincolorado.org/podcast-guest. And now, here's your host, Penn Street.
Kristin, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm great, Penn. How are you doing?
I am doing well. It's beginning to feel like fall outside, so the weather's changing, so it's beautiful out. So, Kristin, I don't know if you've listened to Aftersight before, but I start off the show with some of, just quick fire questions so that our audience can get to know you just a little bit better before we dive in. Is that okay with you?
Oh, sure.
And there's no reason to be nervous. So I know that's easy for me to say. It's harder to do. Kristin, are you a morning person or a night person?
Oh, goodness. Most definitely a night person.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
And being a mom, I'm sure that's hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my kids always like to get up at the crack of dawn, no matter what I wanted to do.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Our son, Gabriel, he's a little over 2. He'll be 2.5 in December. And here lately, he's been getting up at like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
Oh.
And he's just like, Mama, Dada. I'm like, hey, baby boy.
Go back to sleep, baby boy.
Exactly.
Yeah, mine were the same ways.
Every day is a blessing with him. So I'm really grateful.
Oh, I love his name. When I was really little, I don't even think I was 10 years old. I was in a play for our church, and I played the angel Gabriel. And I still remember my little tiny, 6-second speech that I had to give. So he always became one of my favorite angels. So I love Gabriel.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yes. I mean, we had no idea when we found out I was pregnant. We didn't have any names picked out for boys or girls. And that one night, that name came to me. Like, that name was the first name that it came to me. And so, from then on, Gabriel was Gabriel. And he was named after the Lord's archangel. So
Oh,
he's just such an intelligent, beautiful, bright little boy. He's such a happy baby. And
oh,
I'm really
oh.
just amazed by him.
Yeah, I spoke, maybe it was a few weeks ago with Sam Morris, one of my guests, and we talked about how beautiful it is watching small children because everything is so new and fresh, and us as adults should pay attention to that and try to create that space in our own worlds that everything is fresh and new and act like you're doing it for the first time.
Exactly. That moment of wonder. Everything is so full of awe and wonder. It's a lot of things that as adults we forget about. And
Yeah, exactly.
like trying to visualize or think about how things might be through the eyes of a child is such a different mindset.
Mm.
And so I find myself trying to do that, and I can't exactly get it like he does, but I mean, it's just a really neat concept.
It is. Okay, my next rapid fire question is, do you feel yourself that you test the waters or do you dive right in?
Sometimes a little bit of both. I'm one of those people that have always like to have a plan. But sometimes in life, we are presented with situations, whether it's in life or work or anything of that nature, where you can't plan for it. So you can either, deal with life on life's terms or, kind of fall by the wayside. And I tend to, most of the time, deal with life on life's terms. And that's not something that I learned when I was growing up. It's something that I learned maybe about 10 years ago or so. And because of that, I feel that it's given me the better tools to equip myself to make better decisions in my life and to just deal with things that might freak out some people, like being a mom and having a young child.
Yeah.
If Gabriel falls and scrapes his knee, or if he falls, sometimes people can tend to be a little bit overprotective and might freak out. But I just tend to be like, okay, little man, come on. If his knee is bleeding, let's get that cleaned up. You're okay. Mommy loves you, and that may be a poor example, but no, that's a great example. I just try to deal with things as they come with a level head.
Yeah.
Easier said than done sometimes. But as I'm sure you can attest, being a mom too.
Absolutely. Okay, this is a fun question. Do you like crunchy or creamy peanut butter?
Creamy. I like the smoothness of the peanut butter taste in my mouth. I know that sounds weird, but there's just something about smooth peanut butter.
It's interesting because I love crunchy. Like I love the texture, and I don't know if that's because I'm visually impaired. Everything texture is so important to me, but even with food, I prefer it to have like crunchiness and texture, and like even ice cream. Like I love when it has like nuts and stuff in it.
Oh yeah.
Where my husband, who is a professional photographer, he cannot stand like his ice cream. He wants it smooth and creamy, and like guacamole. I like when guacamole has chunks in it. He doesn't. He likes it almost whipped. And then same thing with his ice cream. He just wants it all to be one texture. So yeah, so it's always interesting, and I always wonder if that has to do with what's going on in other parts of your life, or if it's just, nope, you just like crunchy peanut butter over creamy.
Right?
So it's always interesting. Okay, so this one I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Oh, good.
Would you rather hang out with children or with senior citizens?
I would rather, man, see, that's a hard question because you can gain, one of the things I like is learning. And you can learn so much from children, just watching them, how they interact. Like, we just moved to this suburb outside of Fort Worth called White Settlement. And it's like a smaller town, but it's not in the country. It's kind of on the outskirts of Fort Worth. And there's a little park. Well, Gabriel was born in the middle of the pandemic. So we didn't have a lot of interaction with children, didn't have birthday parties because a lot of things were closed down. Well, there's a little toddler play area that we've been taking our son to. My husband and I have been taking our son to in the evenings when it's a little bit, it's cooled off a little bit. And Gabriel has been playing. We run into this little girl and who's about a year and a half older than him, but he's been playing with her. And it is just so amazing to see him learn because he tries to copy her. So.
Oh, right.
But at the same time, even at a little over 2, he's being a gentleman. Like he'll take her hand and walk with her or, let her go first down the slide or just something. And it's so cute to watch him and learn, simple things from just how he interacts with others. But also in the case of elderly people, you can learn so much about their life and what they went through because so many people don't take the time to think about our elders.
Yeah.
So actually, I like to hang out with both.
Okay. See, your happy place would be a group of senior citizens with little ones wandering around.
Exactly. A family reunion or something,
Yeah, exactly. I do agree with your comment about seniors. I am very lucky that I get to work with them. And whenever I have the opportunity to sit down and have conversations with them and their advice and their stories, and it's a gift when I get the opportunity to do that, because I think, and I'm definitely older than you are, but I remember being young and my elders would say, you think that you're the only one who's ever gone through this, and of course, when you're young, you're like, well, yeah, I am, because, I'm the center of the earth. Right. But as you get older, you realize, you look back on those conversations like I do with my parents and grandparents and go, oh, I get it now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite questions because music is very important to me. Is if you have, Jonathan warned you, didn't he? Is if you have a theme song, what would it be?
I love this question. It's the best question ever. My favorite band is Breaking Benjamin, and my theme song would be, they have a song that came out on their album Dear Agony, and it's called I Will Not Bow. And the chorus is I relate so much to music and so much to lyrics. And the chorus is my theme song because, it talks about, I don't know if you're familiar with Breaking Benjamin. Sometimes people are.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not, but that's one of the reasons I love asking this question, because it introduces me to bands or singers that I'm not aware of. So I'll definitely look them up.
Oh yes. Their chorus goes, I will not bow, I will not break. And, I really feel like that has been applicable to so many areas of my life because I've gone through some things in my life that others might not have gone through. And instead of choosing to let it take me down a dark path, I chose to learn from it and better myself. And
wow,
I'm just super grateful that I am at where I'm at today.
That's awesome. So we'll make sure that we will put a link to that song on our podcast notes so that everybody can listen to it, because I know it's going to be one of the first things I do this afternoon is download that and listen to it, because it sounds amazing. I have a quote that an incredible teacher told me many, many years ago, and it's, I would rather die standing than live on my knees. And
Exactly.
it kind of goes along with what you were saying, and yeah, I can't wait to listen to it. Well, thank you, Kristin, so much for bearing with me with the way I start my podcast. And now, Kristin, I know, first, thank you for doing this, because I know it's taken a lot of courage for you to come on today. It was something you were nervous about. And I'm always in awe of people when something scares them, but they do it anyway. So I really, really appreciate that. And also, I'm a big advocate for Braille. I've actually lobbied in Washington, D.C. to make sure that Braille continues to get taught in schools, because yes, there was actually a time not too long ago that they were thinking about stopping teaching Braille because we have things like audio, right?
Yeah.
And so when we lobbied, we're like, okay, if you're not going to teach blind children Braille, then you don't need to teach sighted children how to read either. And of course they were like, no, we couldn't ever do that. And I'm like, well, then you cannot take Braille away from children who that is the only way they can read. So first of all, I want to thank you for what you do, because it's something that gives us access to the printed word, just like we do here at AINC by creating these audio files. But there is nothing like opening the page of a book and being able to actually read it, even though that's in Braille versus the sighted print. It's such a gift that you have given to the world. And I hope you really understand that, and how much that people like me really, really, really appreciate that.
Sorry.
And so, Kristin, that's okay. Oh, I hope I'm not upsetting you.
No, it's just touching. I'm not trying to interrupt, and I'm not trying to a boss hog. It's just touching, because I love what I do so much, and I love being able to help the visually impaired children and adults learn, and I just love it. I mean, and I've never been told that by anyone that is visually impaired. And I've always hoped that it has, helped everyone, but it's just nice. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm all teary over here.
I can't believe I'm the first person to say that to you, because you've been doing it for quite a while. Well, Kristin, I know that you learned this skill, which it is a huge undertaking. You were, and also I wanted you to talk a little bit about the graphic arts part of what you do as well. And I know that you learned these skills while you were incarcerated in a women's prison. Could you share a little bit about what took you to that place, but also not just that, but how you chose to get into that Braille program? Because, and the reason I'm asking this is because I have guide dogs, and my very first guide dog, Gina, was actually trained in a women's prison. And then the guide dog that I have right now, Beethoven, which a lot of people know, Beethoven, he was also trained, puppy raised in a women's prison in Georgia. And then I also belong to Lions Club International. And I know that there's a program in one of the prisons here in Colorado that helps sort those glasses, that all those thousands of glasses people donate, and they prepare them to go out to other countries. So I know there's like lots of programs that are offered. But I would, if you don't mind sharing, like, how did you end up where you were? And then also why did you choose Braille?
Let's see. Without going into long drawn out details, when I was younger, I made some very poor choices in my life. I'm 42 right now. And when I was in my 20s, I made some poor decisions, and I didn't think them through. And as a result of my poor decision making, I was, I was given a prison sentence of 10 years. I'd never been in trouble in my
Wow.
life. I didn't know anything. I thought it was like the Shawshank Redemption and Law and Order. I mean, I went in there
Oh my
expecting to have,
goodness.
like iron bars and people clinking cups and all kinds of stuff. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything. I was naive.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I had hung out with the wrong group of people, and several of them had been incarcerated and gone to prison and gotten out. But since I was young, I had the mindset, not that I was better than anybody by any means, but that it would never happen to me because I was somehow
Right.
like, not that I was invincible, but and not even that I was smarter, but I was just in denial that, following a destructive lifestyle would never happen to me. Well, it did.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it blindsided me. And I never, like I said, I'd never been in trouble before. I was a first time, they call it in Texas, inmates are called offenders. I was a first time offender and, had never been on probation, never had a misdemeanor, anything. Heck, I hadn't even had a parking
Wow.
ticket, pardon me.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
when I was given that, I was 29. I didn't come home until I was 38. I did over 9.5
Wow.
years day for day. And not because I was a
Wow.
troublemaker, but because in Texas, the parole board can approve or deny you. And I had to do 5 years day for day before I saw parole, and I kept getting denied. They do that to a lot of people that they don't think are going to come back, that don't have previous records for whatever reason they deem necessary, because I didn't get in trouble. I just wanted to learn from my mistakes and come home.
Right.
While I was before I was incarcerated, I had an associate's degree. When I arrived at the women's prison, because I had an associate's degree, that made me ineligible to go to the school building and take any classes to further my learning. I was able to get into the women's prison braille program on the Mountain View unit in Gatesville, Texas. And the warden, you have to have one of your family members call in and speak to the warden to see about getting you in there. It's not like you can just write a letter or,
Oh, wow.
stop them or call them yourself, because in a prison situation, you don't have access to those things.
Right.
So my mother called and I was able to get into the prison braille program in Gatesville, Texas at the Mountain View unit, and it changed my life. Now, initially,
Wow.
I didn't understand. I struggled and I struggled because I just couldn't get it. And, I
Yeah.
prayed and I would come home and I would cry, and because I wanted so badly to understand, but I just didn't. And I prayed one night.
You didn't understand the basics of the braille cells, or like what were you not understanding?
Just how a braille cell is set up, with dots,
Oh, okay.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. We were learning the alphabet, and I just couldn't grasp it. And
Yeah.
one night I went home and I prayed, and then overnight it was like a key unlocked in my brain. When I went back to the braille program, I understood everything: letters A through Z, punctuation, everything.
Wow.
And 2-cell contractions, short form words, single letter alphabet contractions, the whole full Monty. It was like it had all been divinely revealed while I was asleep. And that is how I know that braille and helping the visually impaired and stuff like that is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I take so much joy and I love my job, whether it's like a young child, like kindergarten, pre-K, or, a grown adult doing pre-med classes. I take so much joy in just trying to do the best job possible and trying to help them, because I that's just how I am. That's where my heart is today. Something that was meant to be for evil, I turned around and I studied really, really hard. And it changed my life. Something was meant for evil turned out to be good.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to me hearing you talk, because I did not learn Braille until I was sort of introduced to it in elementary school, but not really. I lost my vision when I was 9, so I was already reading print, but they did think that I was going to lose my vision 100%, so they wanted me to learn Braille, and I was the same way. Like, I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, this is like magic, right? But it was, once I got it, and it really was like this, like you said, the key unlocking the door, it all made sense. And once it made sense to me, I was hungry to learn more and more and more. And the way I approach Braille, and I still do to this day, is that it's a foreign language. And if I think of it that way, it makes sense. But if I think of it and try to compare it to the English printed words, then I get lost. But if I think of it as like its own entity and its own language, then it's like, I get it. Because I didn't learn it as a really young child, it wasn't my first language, you could say. I'm not as fast at it as I have friends like Evan, who works for AINC. He reads Braille faster than most people read print. And I would love to be at that point, but I don't think so in my life, because I don't rely 100% on Braille. But you've inspired me to, sharpen some of those skills, because I don't know how long I'm going to keep this residual vision. But it really is a life changer for kids to learn Braille, because I've been around small children, and they, when they're learning Braille, and it is like, it's magic, right? It's like they finally can connect and can communicate, like the other kids that are around them. And I've also seen blind parents who read children's stories that are in Braille to their sighted children. And that is a beautiful thing, because without Braille, there's no way that blind parent could have that. I'm sure you read to Gabrielle, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how special that is. Well, imagine if you were blind and you didn't have access to Braille, you couldn't do that amazing part of their learning and that laying down that foundation. So again, what you are doing, like you like, and one of the reasons I really wanted to interview you is that you were changed, your life was changed and enriched by Braille, but yet you are enriching and changing lives of every single person that has access to what you do. And it's like that ripple effect. And I love how you said, you took something that was evil and you turned it into this, literally bright light that you're shining across the world. So I really hope you understand how important what you do is, not just to me, but I'm sure to a lot of our listeners around the world who either read Braille or teach Braille or have any interaction with somebody who has Braille, because we need so many more people like you. Because if we don't continue to have people like you, Braille is going to die, which means all of those kids and even adults. I've worked with senior citizens in their 80s that started learning Braille. And so I just can't imagine a world without Braille. But it's going to happen if more people don't become transcribers like you. So I hope, I can see you not only doing what you do, but also teaching the next generation of transcribers.
I would love that. I'm trying, whenever, sorry, I was a little teary there. Um, Whenever people ask me what I do and I tell them, they're like, that's so cool, because a lot of people will, have never met someone that transcribes Braille. A
Yeah.
lot of people will ask me where I learned it, and depending upon the situation, or
Yeah.
who I'm talking to, I might or might not go as in depth as I did with you, because believe it or not, a lot of people, there's a lot of negative stereotyping, and a lot of
Mm.
people think, once a troublemaker, or once someone got in trouble, even though mine was back in 2008, uh, you know, they tend to group all the people that are still causing trouble together. But more often than
Oh,
not, I'm honest about where I learned it, because it did change my
yeah.
life. Not everyone has to continue to follow down a bad path. And
Yeah.
I encourage people. I'll try to tell them, look, you can go to the Library of Congress, and you can learn the
Yeah.
lessons for free. I was like, we need more transcribers. And I'm always
Yes.
trying to recruit people, if they show
Good.
interest in, asking me what I do for a living. And, I've been blessed to work with a lot of great agencies, and, they feel the same way that I do. And so we're all, actively trying to get more people into Braille, because just like you said, without people to produce the books,
Yeah.
Braille become obsolete. And I never want technology.
Oh,
I never want technology with the advancements that are coming out every day, whether it's a screen reader or, different audio things.
yeah.
I could only imagine, shall we say, that if I was visually impaired, that I'd want to read books to my children. I'd want to learn
Yeah.
stuff myself. It's fine to have someone sit down and, read stuff out, but nothing can take away the satisfaction of knowing you did something on your own.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And so, like you had mentioned, something like a pre-K or book for a kindergartner, which is in grade 1 Braille, which is, for those who don't know, it's like, so like the word and, A-N-D, well, in Braille, it would be A-N-D, like it's 3 cells. But then you go into grade 2 Braille, where it's 1 Braille cell for the whole word and. But then there's also, like you do books for chemistry students or pre-med students. And I know there's even special Braille for music. Braille is not, Braille is as complicated as the printed word is.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. And like a lot of children that they I don't know if they do this anymore, but they were not teaching grade 1 Braille. They were just jumping into grade 2 Braille, which is the contractions for words. And I didn't really agree with that, because I think learning that, like a word like and, A-N-D, is actually made up of 3 letters, versus Braille, it breaks it down to basically it's 1. And so I think that it's good to teach people grade 1 Braille first before going into grade 2. Do you have a philosophy how you feel about that?
I think it's important, for any child or adult, if they wish to learn Braille, to be taught the full spectrum, starting with individual letters, just like you said, grade 1, later on grade 2. But don't rob someone, don't try to just, in my humble opinion, throw someone into contractions and things of that nature, because maybe, like myself, when I was learning and was having a hard time with the learning the cells and stuff, maybe they might get frustrated, because maybe they can't seem to grasp it. And,
Yeah.
you don't want to, Braille is such a gift. It is such an amazing, wonderful gift that I would hate for any child or adult to get so frustrated that they just put it off or give up.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I would hate that. So my answer to your question would be, I would really feel just like you do, that they learn, starting with the ABCs, starting with the alphabet,
Yeah.
learning uncontracted Braille, which is grade 1, just
Yes.
starting with the basics and then working up to the contractions, because the contractions will
Yeah.
still be there.
Kristin, what's your favorite thing to Braille?
I tend to specialize in math, science, and chemistry.
Oh, wow.
I really sucked at those subjects in like school, but there's something about brailing them. I mean, I have no idea how to answer some long question that has Greek variables and things, or some long chemical structure, but it's so much
Yeah.
fun brailing it. Oh my goodness. I mean, especially if you're doing brailing a physical chemical structure, such as in chemical notation, like UEB Nimith or old school chemical
Yeah.
notation, or even UEB technical. It is so much fun
Yeah.
because they end up looking like the little Space Invader guys from the Atari game back in the day.
And you had also mentioned that you do graphic art that you emboss for embossing. How does that work? Or is that part of what you're like? I know with the books that you transcribe, especially at university level, do you mean that those types of graphs, or are you talking about different kind of graphics?
I use for my graphic software, I use Corel Draw, and I have a template that we use, and so I'm able to. It has just like the same amount of dots you would have on a regular piece of Braille paper. It would be 40 cells across and 25 lines down, with the same margins as a piece of Braille paper, same marginal dimensions. And I am able to draw pretty much whatever is needed. If it's a lower grade book, there's sometimes a lot of concept maps and thought bubbles or graphic organizers where there's usually a circle with little lines pointing to other circles, or it could be a Cartesian map, in calculus, or another higher level math, or it could be chemistry where it's things like chemical structures and orbitals or things of that nature. So pretty much it's looking at an image, and where sighted people might see it as being very 3D, and multifaceted, you have to think of a way to strip it down where it would teach the material but not be as confusing, to someone who is visually impaired. And when I say that, I mean, obviously, unless you had like a 3D printer, that could print something out where you could, give verbal descriptions as of this is this, this is that. It's not able to reproduce something so intense, a super intense graphic, the same way that a sighted person would see.
Do people ask you one-off questions like, "Oh, could you do this for me?"
I've never, not designing business cards or logos or anything. Like I'm the type of person where I like to pay it forward. I like to help others. If someone calls me and asks me a question about Braille, or, hey, like I had a friend that was doing a German book, and she asked me to draw some maps of certain places in Germany. Sure, no problem. How much are you going to charge? Nothing, friend. It's free. I just want to help you. And it's not about, for me, it's about helping other people. It's not so much about, trying to capitalize on anything. It's just about helping people.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. We need more Kristins out there.
I wish. Thank you.
Do you ever get to meet any of the students or the persons that you get to transcribe for? And if so, what's that like?
I have never been privileged, and I say privileged because I
Oh,
consider it an honor to be able to do work for any child or adult. I've never been privileged to meet any of them. I just,
wow.
uh, I just do the best job that I possibly can and hope that it brings them as much joy in helping them learn as I enjoyed translating the material into Braille for them.
That right there shows how unselfish you are, because there's not very many people that would have a dedicated career that never knew what that outcome was. Like you show up, you do your work, and you do it from your heart, and like I probably am never even going to know what this outcome is. But you just keep doing it, and that's so amazing. So what keeps you motivated, Kristin? Since you don't even get thanked for what you're doing, what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated is, since becoming a mom, I try to think, how would I feel if Gabriel was visually impaired? Whether it be he needs large print, partial vision, no vision. I try to look at it from that perspective. And I also try to look at it
Yeah.
from being, 42. That being said, everything I do, I try to think of how it might affect someone else. Like in regards to if I was a mother of a visually impaired child, I'd want that child to have the same advantages and same quality of work that sighted children get. If I was an adult going to college, or, going to a local Starbucks, or going to a restaurant, and ordering from a menu, I'd want to know that everything on there was correct and of quality and not just mishmash thrown together. My goal is to try to produce the best quality work that I can to make it so visually impaired people have the same advantages, no matter what age you are, that the sighted people have.
Oh, wow. It's so unusual for me to hear that from somebody who is sighted. Like, it's so rare, because I would say that, of course, because this is my life. This is I live this life. But to have somebody who is sighted to actually grasp that is so rare. So again, your superstar status continues to rise in my book. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you. I just consider myself a really big dork who loves Breaking Benjamin, coffee, and Braille.
I think that's a goal that more people should have. So Kristin, what would you like your legacy to be?
As someone who might have started out making poor decisions and poor choices, but in the end learned so much about helping others. And I would just I'd want, like, if I were to leave, today, shall we say, I want those that know me to be proud of me and not say, well, she made some mistakes in her life and, she never learned anything. I would want those in my life to be proud of me and know that I had changed my life around, and just how much of an honor I feel like it is to be able to help others learn.
Oh, sweetie. Well, I think that's done. I think you can check that box off. So what's next for you, Kristin?
Eventually one day I don't have an embosser, so I plan to save up one day and get an embosser, and just continue to learn. I have 4 certifications. I'm certified in eBay 5th edition, the UEB Canada. I did the UEB proficiency letter, from eBay, and I'm certified in Nimeth. And I'm also on the BANA ad hoc committee on chemistry, and I drew the chemistry graphics for that. So we're about to get that into the publication committee, so the updated version of the Banna Chemistry Code Book can come out. My goal is just to continue to learn and strive to do the best job I can so that I can help as many visually impaired children and adults as I'm allowed to help.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, Kristin, how do people learn more about you and connect with you?
My email address is the letter K as in koala, M as in Mary, E as in egg, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, and the number 198@gmail.com.
Great. And again, we'll put that in the podcast notes. And then they can look for you on LinkedIn. I found you on LinkedIn, I think last night, and connected with you. So that also shares how people can connect with you as well. Because you're working as a contractor, right? You work for yourself. I know you've worked with different organizations, but right now you're working for yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I am an independent contractor and graphics artist.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, anybody out there has connections, needs braille, you send them Kristin's way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kristin, another reason your story really resonated with me is I have an older brother who was in the prison system pretty much from really young teenager. And he was one of those, repeat offenders or whatever. I don't know what they're called. Just every time he would get out, he wasn't out. Usually it was less than a year. And he was back in the system. And it did not matter what my parents did or didn't do. It didn't matter what his siblings did or didn't do. It's just, he never broke that, it was so integrated in his life, and nobody outside of him could change him. And, he's not incarcerated right now, but that's because of medical things, which I didn't know that until it happened with him, that if you reach a certain critical medical status, a lot of times the prison system will let you out because they don't want to deal with it. So that's where he is in his situation. I don't foresee him living much longer because of this, but it always broke my heart as his little sister that he just couldn't change. He couldn't find something in his life that gave him joy, so that he wanted to, kind of draw him to the outside versus the inside. And so I've seen the opposite happen in my personal life, where that was the opposite of you, where you made, like you said, you made those poor decisions, and I can tell in your voice, in your tone, that you did, and you honor that, and you did your time. That was, given to you, even though that seems just insane to me, the length that they gave you. But I know Texas is very harsh on people in prison, but yet there you were, and you looked at braille, and you looked at how you could make other people's lives better. And here you are married, and you have this beautiful little angel, little boy. And I want you to know how much I understand how hard that must have been. And I'm so thankful you did it so that you can be part of not just my life, but so many other people's lives.
Thank you. It was a journey. I mean, nobody in their life decides, hey, I want to make a bad choice and land there. I mean, I never thought that, it's not something you think about as a little girl growing up, but instead of letting it keep me rooted in the ashes, I chose to rise up from it. And I was one of the people where I just wouldn't get it. And I had to physically be removed so that I could straighten myself out, voluntarily take classes to learn more about myself and why I made the decisions I did, so that I didn't want to get out and have history repeat itself in any way, shape, or form. I just wanted to get out and try to, help other people and not move on with my life, because that doesn't sound right. But I mean, just get out and try to do the best that I can. There's a quote I came up with when I was there, and it said, never let your future be held hostage by your past.
Ooh. Oh, I love that.
And what I mean is, I'm not proud of the choices that I made in the past, but I do my best to not let them define the woman that I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a wonderful example that is going to be for Gabriel as he grows up. And because that's something not all parents can give their children. And that is definitely something you'll be able to give him. Kristin, I just so appreciate you coming on today. I always give the opportunity to my guests to ask me a question. Anything's on the table. It's always surprising to me what people ask me, but I've been asking you question after question. And do you have a question for me?
What is your favorite thing to read in Braille?
My absolute favorite thing to read in Braille is children's stories to my grandchildren. And yes, I'm a grandmother. They call me
Oh.
Nana.
Oh, that's what they call Gabriel calls my mom Nana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I often will request children's books from the Colorado Talking Book Library, which is the part of the Library of Congress. And just because now they're getting older, one of them is still little enough that you can read to him, but the other ones are getting older, and they are now, because they're 9 and 10, so they want to read to me, which is beautiful in itself. But I love the simplicity, and also it takes less brain power for me to read a children's book. So I would definitely say that. That's a great question. So, well, Kristin, I want to thank you again so much for having the courage to come on today, and the courage of facing everything that you have faced. When we named our podcast Aftersight, it is because we wanted people to know that there is life after sight, but that means a lot to a lot of different people. But there is life after, you get knocked down, or you face a challenge, or something has happened in your life that was unexpected, that you didn't plan for, or hope for, or ever even want to happen. But there's life after that. We all get knocked down, but it's what we do when we get back up that matters. And so that's why we call this podcast Aftersight. And you are definitely an example of that. And we all here at AINC and on the podcast want to wish you the very, very, very best, and let you know that we are so thrilled at what you continue doing. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, thank you. It's been a real honor being able to be a guest on your podcast. I was like, holy cow. I was so excited. I was talking to my mom and my husband, and everyone was so excited for me, because they know how much I love Braille, and how big of a passion it just is for me. And so I'm so grateful to be a guest on your show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kristin. And I want to thank Audio Information Network of Colorado. It's been a ride. It's been a ride this last year. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I get to do the fun part, which is I get to talk to the most beautiful, amazing people on the planet here on the podcast, just like Kristin. But it's all of you who do the hard work behind the scenes and don't get recognized. So thank you all. Everybody from Rosanna at the front desk, who is just an incredible human being. Kim, our executive director. Matt, running your tail off for me constantly. Evan, you make me sound good. And you're such a great friend, and you inspire me each and every day. Alex, I wish I had my life together the way you have it together at such a young age. Jonathan, you're the one who put this podcast way above where I ever thought it was going to be. And Lauren, welcome to the team. You're new, but you're part of the family already. I also want to thank Brady. Brady, you're the one that helps me keep the doors open. You're an amazing grant writer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, Shirley, you're not on the sideline, Shirley. You're still part of our family. So thank all of you, and thank all of our incredible, beautiful listeners out there. Please keep sharing the podcast. Keep listening. I know you guys keep dropping in week after week and give us some beautiful, amazing feedback that we definitely take to heart. And remember, this week, be kind to yourself and find a way to be kind to someone else. It's good for your soul.